Happy Tuesday, beautiful souls, wherever you are on this phenomenal planet. It is time for Shift Your Thinking Tuesdays, where we transform our inner experience to a phenomenal outer experience for 13 minutes of our day, of our time. We do it together. We connect, build, and share. Woohoo! I'm feeling extremely stoked. Shout out to my little brother, my little big brother. Hey, love, how are you? He's on the Instagram. Please say hi, hello, tag someone who needs some positivity. Just get the mind right, get us focused. I mean, you may have been up way ahead of me, but this is what we do at 8:10 Pacific time every Tuesday, shift our thinking. We're now on episode 62. Hey, Mark, thanks for chiming in. Mark Spears on Facebook. And I'm continuing my series from Dean Del Sesto, 200 Ways to Improve Our Lives. Santis, hello. And Philly's in the building. And wow, I mean, oh my goodness. I had to pause real quick because my laptop was like, we're going to restart in 10 minutes. No, I'm having a show. You will not restart in 10 minutes. So I'm calling this segment, episode 62, is Stress Me Out. Yo, you bugging. I'm bugging. I'm in the section where it says stress is a choice. Stress is a choice. And I just want to make sure that I'm all good on my sound check. I have a little bit of feedback, but it's all right. So good. All right, cool. We're on there. Episode 62, Stress Me Out. I trust that you had a phenomenal weekend. Feel free to share and tell me about it. Drop a message. I also want to do something different with this view of the show. Let me see. If I do this, do you guys like this if I do that? Let's see. I'll play with it this way for a little bit. I'm just trying some new stuff. All right. So I'm in the section where he says stress is a choice. I will tell you, stress is a choice, and you have to be careful. All right, we're gonna jump in, and then I'll build. That's what we normally do. I read into it, and then I jump in, and we then build together. But I think this is a phenomenal subject. They all have been really great subjects that I trust that you have been applying, right? Knowledge is wisdom. Knowledge is power. Application is wisdom, is what I like to say. Knowledge is power. Application is wisdom. Thank you, Mark. He says, you sound and look great. Wonderful. I just want to thank you. At least somebody's letting me know that sound check, visuals, everything's good, because my computer wanted to do something really, out of whack. And so I just want to make sure that we're good. So he says, stress will make us older, but not always wiser. You notice some people go through some things and how quickly they age, like boom, overnight. Gosh, trauma can do that. And then when you don't have coping techniques and strategies in your life, which is what this is coping techniques. We need those coping techniques in our lives. Consider that everything we do, good or bad, he says, has value to us. And we do it because there's a payoff of some sort. He says, otherwise, we wouldn't do it. Stress is no different. Some people choose to allow stress to occur simply so they can feel alive. Are you one of those people? You doing this so you can feel alive? Are you letting stress that you feel like, oh, if I'm not going through something, I'm not alive? No, don't let that be the norm. Life really is not that. No. Mm-mm. He says others choose not to deal with stress. If you've just joined in, we are on the segment. This is episode 62 of Shift Your Thinking, where I'm calling it Stress Me Out or Not. Because for those of you like, I mean, boy, if I tell you the stuff that I've been through, whoo, well, it all started when I was 6. No, I'll leave that for my therapist. But it's using coping strategies. It is really using those coping strategies. So stress or not. I should have called it to be stressed or not. He says others choose not to deal with stress by postponing it, causing more stress. So when you're not identifying what you're dealing with, guess what? You add to it. He says still others choose to turn stress into unproductivity as a strategy for complacency. I know that was a mouthful. Some turn stress into unproductivity as a strategy for complacency. You're just lazy. Do the work as a way to get out of work. See, do the work. Don't be lazy. Stop being lazy. And he says, it's as if the difficulty of stressing out is somehow easier than the stress of working, focusing, and developing. This is, like I said, dealing with those coping techniques. He said, granted, the occurrences of life are unpredictable and stress will show up whether we like it or not. But he says, how we deal with stress will always come down to choice. All right, let's build right there. I think that's a good section to build right there. So here's the thing. Hugh likes to say, here it is. Here's the thing. As we're building on stress, because stress is very real, and stress has physiological effects on the body, where there's a component in the body that there's a fat component actually, and believes it's cortisol. So stress creates a need in the body to be fed. Now listen carefully here, especially when we're talking about triggers. When all of a sudden you feel like you want to fight somebody, when you feel like you want to, catch some hands, when you feel aggy, it's because when your body has initially experienced stress, it has created a center. I want to refer to it as fat center. I'll probably research it and post it to just kind of add to the caption. But there's there's something real in terms of physiological happening in your body that feeds the stress. And so now when you've dealt with the stress, it's woosah, it's all gone, it's cleared away. However, that compartment in the body now is empty because it's not feeding off of the stress. It's not feeding off of the temperament. And so it sends a signal to the brain saying, hey, I need some food here. I need to be fed here. You created us for this. You created this for stress. Get it? Stress me out. You did this in your own body. So now the body sends a signal to the brain saying, yo. So you just gonna leave us hanging like this? And for those of you in relationships, when you have your significant other, when your spouse all of a sudden is popping off and she comes up with, some old trigger, something from the past saying, did you think she looked better in that dress than me? And you go, what? What are you talking about? Stress me out. She needs to feed that compartment that she created when she was stressing over that old situation. Same thing with my kings. Same thing. You're like, oh, so what? You gonna call him to help you fix your car? Huh? What are you talking about? Sweetheart, I just asked you, can you do the oil change for me? What are you talking about? It's triggers. His brain was signaled by that compartment in his body, stress me out, that said, hey, feed us down here. So be very careful when we're not dealing, coping, or managing stress properly. That's why he said stress is a choice. Some choose to deal with it and work through it, transmute that energy to positive productivity as a positive strategy. And that's what I've seen. Personally, for myself, I'll share that much. I have created so much in my life because of the stressors and the traumas that I have experienced in life, that I used all that fire, right? Because to me, it feels like fire in my body, that instead of popping off somewhere, I'm creating. I'm creating. I'm transforming that. I'm transmuting that into love, positivity, productivity. Yes. I like this. Mark says stress initiates. Oh, yes. Stress initiates. He says, my back spasms and pain. Absolutely. And here's what's really interesting about that. The word dis-ease, right? Disease, when we talk about disease, the word dis-ease comes from the uneasiness in our body. So as Mark is sharing about the spasms it's triggering, and here's the thing about it, pay attention to this, that every part of the body, any pain that you feel, that dis-ease is triggering, is actually metaphoric for something you are experiencing. For instance, I have been in a very tumultuous transaction, and it has triggered pain in my shoulders, the weight I'm feeling, and it literally transferred from my left side over to my right side. And what does that mean for me? That I am carrying the burden. Mark, I forget what it means when it's actually in your back, though, because there's real significance when it's in your back. And so I got to come back to that. Shout out to my Instagram fan, Black Friday film series. Rick, I got it. I got you. I got you. And yeah, the real pain, temple, the neck, the shoulders, women who feel it in their utero, in the abdominal area, right? Solar plexus area, carrying some stress there. Oftentimes have to deal with intimacy or your lack thereof, or challenges you have with intimacy. And that's a whole nother level. That's really deep when we're dealing with that. Same thing with men in the prostate, the stresses that you are carrying, you're carrying in your genitals, the stresses that we are not coping and dealing with. We're not transmuting that. Be careful with that. Good one. Yeah, I like this. Anyone else wants to chime in? Anyone wants to talk about some other things that we may or may not be dealing with? Episode 62, stress me out or not. It is a choice. It is a choice. It is a choice. I like this. I'm feeling good about this. Let's continue. He says there are books to read, prayers if you pray, advisors to consult, exercise to be done, deep breathing to engage in, the right foods to eat. Listen, this is what we're talking about. These are all various types of coping strategies. Highlight those. I'll read them again. I'll list them off again. So we have books to read. I have a whole bunch of books. Actually, I just got 3 more books yesterday. Woo! Prayers if you pray, and or meditate. If you meditate, yeah. advisors to consult, coaches, advisors, your gurus, your masters. I have a good team that I do consult with. Exercise to be done, absolutely. That's transmuting that energy, you all, transmuting that. Exercise is a great way to burn that off. Because again, I just said it's a compartment in the body. There's a little fat pocket created just for stress, and it says feed me, feed me, feed me. So when you're having these triggers and you just, it's in your mind oftentimes. And again, this is why stress is a choice. It's in your mind oftentimes where you're choosing to deal or not, or how do you convert. I run. Oh my gosh. I mean, I remember it was like 2 years ago till last year. I was really going through some challenges that I would get out there, and I was running every other day, 5 miles. I got very thin because I was working out so much, because I was converting that, the stressors that I was experiencing. And I kind of slowed down because I felt like I was becoming a popsicle head. I was getting a little too thin for my frame. And and looking at what my normal body makeup is, I kind of like me the way I'm built. I'm a 5'2" fun pack. Let me just say that. So I reduced the level of working out that I was doing. Just for maintaining weight, not so much losing weight, but maintaining my weight and my frame. And so he says, deep breathing to engage in, and the right foods to eat. Don't shun away so much from the vegan and vegetarian movement. This is a live foods, because you are a live being. Try the live foods, the raw foods. He says the list of stress reducing options is endless, as are the disciplines to deal with and reduce the effects of stress. The mind is a habit machine that frames up life and our practices, and our reaction to circumstances in two modes. I like this. The mind is a habit machine. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The mind is really a habit machine. He says the two modes are default, I love that, or choice. Default or choice. So shift it. This is shift your thinking, shift your mind when we are dealing with the stress or not. Are we going to default to the triggers, the fights, the emotional eating? Or are we choosing to transmute it? He says default typically looks like checking out, numbing out, and stressing out. Whereas choice looks like checking in. I love that. Choice looks like checking in. Hashtag check in. Thinking on, talking through, or getting help. The moment you begin the process of choice in your stress is the moment stress begins to lose its power. That's my time, y'all. This is my time. So I trust that this was a good one, because we all deal with stress. Are we going to choose default mode, checking out, or choice, which is checking in, and using the coping strategies that we talked about today? All right, y'all. I love you. Have a powerful and productive week. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube at LA Super Agent to catch the archives. I am on radio podcasts everywhere. Connect, build, and share at LA Super Agent, add the .com, and I'll see you next week on episode 63 of Shift Your Thinking. Love you, love you, love you. This was good, y'all.